Welcome to CMO's Off Script. We're experts in healthcare marketing, and each week we will tackle one topic with unfiltered advice you won't hear anywhere else. Let's jump in.
I know. Because this is the thing. For the past month, I've been just blaming me, and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm not feeding, I'm not doing the thing that I keep saying that we should be doing, where it's like you feed it back, you make sure that you're providing enough context. Like, are you asking the right questions? Are you like, and then yet I'm getting shit back where I'm like, hey, this is not what I asked. You completely forgot what I said two, whatever sessions ago. And then I have to re-ask the question, and then it'll state to me, it'll be like, oh yeah, you're right, you forgot. And then it's doing that thing where it just continues to agree with me, even though I've already like fed it and said, do not agree with me.
Well, and I look, like 2 weeks ago, even I could put in, pull up these things and use this resource and give me this outline, and it would go and get like the most recent thing. It would follow my instructions, and it would use multiple resources. It would use the web, it would use my own drive, and it would pull together an amalgamation of things, to deliver a result. This week I asked the same question for a different, for a different project, but wanting to pull from the same sources. Couldn't do it. All wrong.
Okay.
No.
Are you finding that it's not reading things to its completion anymore? Like the thing that you are sending it to synthesize and read, it's not reading it the way it used to.
No.
Something is happening where like it's just, I don't know whether it's like taking a summary or a snapshot or whatever it is, but like not reading it to its full completion. So when I ask the
It's
question,
not following the direction.
it's making shit up, and it's like telling me, and I'm like, wait, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, I asked for a list of the most recent press releases for a client. It's so basic. They're on the website. I just want you to summarize them for me so I don't have to go cut and paste. Totally wrong. Totally wrong.
No.
Like, how do you get that wrong? That's 101. I gave the link to the page. Wrong. I'm like, how are you getting this wrong? Yeah.
Okay.
It's useful. If this continues, it's not useful.
No.
To put this out there, I want to put it out there in social. And if you are an LLM expert and you know what the heck is going on, please let us know.
Okay. We'll put a blurb out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I thought the past month I've just been driving myself nuts, being like, I need to take time. I actually put time on my calendar for Monday to spend time to go back and like educate, because I thought it was a me problem. I'm like, oh my God, I need to train it better. I've gotten super lazy, and I put like an hour on my calendar for Monday to literally just as GPT training.
So also,
that's
I
wild.
think it's
I'm not seeing this, but now I'm wondering if I'm just like I'm not using it enough, and or is it an issue of what platform you're using?
I don't know. That's what I'm like, the model problem.
I mean, I am finding that there are times I'm using Copilot.
Nisha, what do you use?
I'm using GPT.
Yeah, same. So I've started switching between GPT and Gemini.
Yeah. Does it make a difference?
I think sometimes Gemini can be better. What my team is doing is they're running GPT to a point where then it stops being, being effective, and then switching over, taking the content and putting it in Gemini to polish it. But I've heard Copilot's really good, and we're working with a client to get Copilot set up as a dedicated instance for sales. And I think that'll be really good. So maybe Copilot's
but I will keep an eye on things with my team and talk with folks, because I haven't heard any issues raised lately. So now it makes me wonder.
Well, now
let's put it out.
Have our friends at OpenAI hit the end of the interwebs? Like,
this is where I'm like, is this where it all starts
eating itself?
Like it peaked, and then now it's just going downhill.
So that was the conversation at the beginning. Yeah, that's the thread. Like, how will AI evolve from here? What does that look like for us? What does it look like in our customers' products? What does it look like in our company's products? And what does it look like in terms of marketing and sales, and how it influences us? It's really interesting. So I just think that there's several different threads here that are going to be really impactful to follow. I think looking at how the sales team that I mentioned when we were not on the call was interacting with AI and resistant to having AI write content for them because their focus is on really authentically connecting with their clients and prospects. The concern is that AI takes that away. Valid concern. From a marketing perspective, we see it happening. Go ahead, sorry.
Here's my push, and I think this is true of everything. AI is in much the same way. I look at AI as like, it is not the complete answer, in much the same way that you don't sell a sales slick doesn't sell. A human sells, right? Like a human being is the one that does the work. This is the tool that is an enabler, right? And so to me, in much the same way, I really do look at AI as an enabler. If I'm writing content, and I know this is not true of everyone, and I know that there are folks that are leveraging AI to literally like plug copy in, they've set up agents and done all sorts of crazy things to automate the hell out of content. And so to all of you folks out there that have managed to get to that point, like, this is not a conversation that is directed at you, but for the folks that are literally using it to level up their content production, and you still have to read the emails, you still have to read the ebooks, the light papers, the blog posts, the whatever you're creating. Like, you have to provide the good input and read through the output and reframe, ask the follow-up questions. You can't expect that like V1, V2, maybe even V3 is a final product. You're going to still have to tweak it. Anyway, that's my hot take.
I mean, it's that 20% human piece.
Right? There's still the human touch that cannot just be completely removed, particularly when you think about sales and marketing. Like, I don't know, that is my opinion. And I know that there is a way for us to get to a place of greater levels of sophistication in terms of production and potentially automation. But like, I struggle with that because I do think there's that element of humanity that I don't want to lose.
No, I think in general, what's interesting about us like diving into the contrarian view of not adopting AI too quickly, and like the people who are resistant to it, is the fact that I do think that we've like hit a plateau. To our points about like there was this huge adoption curve. Everybody was like, everybody's got to be using this, and we've got a whole bunch of content and crap going out there. And then now it's like hitting this lull of, well, now we have too much stuff that's out there. There's way too much noise in the market. People are pulling back and, getting more, like humanizing their brands and all of these things, right? And now I think what's interesting for us to talk about is like, what do we think is going to be the advent, like coming, like what's our, I guess, like prediction coming into the next quarter of, well, now that people are paring back a little bit, like what does that mean for next year and the use of AI? I think that could be like a really interesting set of topics for us.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
I don't know that we're at that point where people are actually pulling back. I think that because it's still, my hot take is like, this is still a powerful engine. And I don't know that everyone has adopted to the same extent that we have. I mean, I am still trying to get folks to, hey, like streamline, optimize, like use these tools. Like, hey, yes, you created X, Y, and Z. Like now turn it into A, B, and C, right? Like how are we, but there is a lot of noise. And I acknowledge that, right? That is 100% true. And I think the question that I've had and heard from the C-suite for the longest time is, in a world filled with noise, how do you stand out? How do you improve your signal? And I think that element of authenticity and humanization, which we talked about like many months ago, continues to be so real. That like that is the thread that continues for me. I mean, it also means you've got to think of different ways to stand out in a sea of sameness. AI is your inherent thread of in the sea of sameness, right? Like that is the thread that continues to be pulled through. And so finding ways to authentically come forward matters. I mean,
I think it's it's that combination of where can we use AI to make things better, but also recognizing the real need for authenticity. This is why I think video is such a not a game changer, that's not the right word, why it's so critical to this next chapter, because the video is one of the ways where you can connect in a really authentic way.
People are using AI for videos now. So where's that balance, right? Like, how does that play into it? Because people are using AI-based videos to recreate, like, I mean, I just saw something yesterday of someone, I was like, oh my God, it looks just like her, almost, and it's totally not her.
Oof.
I know, and that's
Okay,
what I was thinking. I think that there's like this, it's the video, yes, but we also genuinely, I'm going to keep saying this, but the people who can continue to tell the same story and play the long game and continue to do it in a methodical way are the people who are going to win in this new world.
Ooh, that's a good one, Shanisha.
Like, so far, I've just seen like it's because you have access to all this knowledge and now you're able to transcribe it faster, able to do things faster, able to put up a bunch of landing pages faster. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to help our quality issue. And that to me is like the thing that I believe that we will continue to see as in like even with all of the stuff that we're pushing out is going to be the underlying thing is that we're still putting, if you're still putting out shit, you're still going to have shit conversion and it's not going to ultimately help your pipeline problem.
That is true. Yeah.
And I keep telling folks, and like I read something the other day and like my friend and I were like arguing about it because it was something wrong, and we were talking a little bit about like moving faster, creating more velocity and go to market teams. How do you push out stuff even though it's not perfect? And I said there's almost like there's a middle ground here of acting too fast because you can right now. And just because you can doesn't mean that you should. And the slow and steady wins the race, like toward old, tortoise in the hare like story, where there's like, there's got to be, I think, this middle ground. And I don't think we've found it yet as a like in this dynamic as a market. Like, I don't think the marketing function has found like, what is the middle ground? I think there's some people who are shipping fast and they're pushing out sorts of messages and it's getting lost in the noise because everybody's doing the same thing.
Right.
And then I think there's companies who are still over here that are lagging behind. But like, I don't know. Because I struggle with this too. It's like the middle ground. Because there are days where I kind of swing both ways.
Garbage in, garbage out. Yeah. You can't escape that. That is real. And if you're going too fast, that's a problem. I mean, we all have to move faster, right? Like, I think this is the reality of the world that we live in, is we are expected to operate at a much faster pace. So I don't want to just dismiss that as like, oh, don't go fast. It's like, that is the expectation. It is constant efforts to optimize, right? And optimize means improve speed and quality. So that is the expectation. We are trying to leverage a tool to help us accelerate that. The challenge is, so is everyone else, right? If everyone else is doing that and you're not, then are you falling behind? And I think it is challenging to tell your investors, I'm going to go slow. Like, I don't know a world in which slow and steady wins the race in this environment. Like,
I mean, I agree with you.
But the one thing I'll say to the optimization thing, because this is my issue with people who continue to iterate and continue to optimize, doesn't mean shit if you're not measuring anything. So if you're the issue that I think some people, they bubble into this whole like, oh, we're going to continue to iterate and get better. Yes, but like you're not even measuring success through those iterations. And so what you're doing is just random, like you're putting out rant. You're like, oh, we're going to go say this, then we're going to go say this, and then we're going to go say this. There's no like planned process to iterate, right? There's like, it feels like it's just disparate things that are happening.
Yeah.
Here's our, I don't know. But anyway, I think, honestly, what if next time we just came all together and we were like, each of us just did like a hot take on where we think 2026 is going to go based off of all of this stuff. Maybe that's like crystal session, but maybe the session after.
Let's do it the session after. Let's do a crystal session where we talk about how AI is being implemented with HubSpot and other tools. I mean, HubSpot, Apollo, Clay, Zoom Info, all these tools, and sort of how that is looking like in real world terms.
Great.
And then I think a hot take for 2026. The other thing is, I think going back to your speed conversation, I'm really pondering. I think there's a conversation to have here. Like we could take that as a nugget and pull it out, because the demand for, get this done now, it just I feel like it's waves. It's like every time you get the request, you get it out there, and the next wave comes before you have had time to evaluate and learn from this wave to implement it so that you make more impact. That's sort of the experience that I'm seeing right now with a lot of our clients, is the pressure to move fast and generate and be responsive to the market. I think that's it too, is that there's this need to respond to what we're hearing in the market so fast.
Yeah. But if you can't, but to that point, like, then when are you measuring it? When are you
No,
measuring the impact
exactly.
and the value of it, right? To Nisha's point, like, if we're not measuring the impact and the value, so what? Like, you did it, check. It feels like we need to get out of this, like, that FOMO lifestyle that we are all clearly living in, and that need to, like, operate with speed but no precision. Or maybe it's like, I don't want to say that it's zero precision, but I do think that element of, we're doing activities or we're taking action, but we're not actually taking the time to measure how did it perform before we move on to the next thing.
Oh my God, I already got my hot take.
Let's hear your hot take.
I think 2026, all marketing organizations should act more like their product teams and should have this agile type of process where you are doing the same thing as your product counterparts, and you are taking in, okay, what's the market saying? What are my competitors saying? What is my sales team saying? There's an iteration process that happens where there's a time frame, like every month you synthesize and you're like, what are all the things? What's all my data points saying to me? You put it in a backlog, and then your team adds it to a roadmap, and then you iterate and you ship out. And it should be this process that we develop, because this is the same thing that happens on the other end. But as a marketing team, like, we plan out way far in advance. And so we don't leave enough room for this, like, continue to look at data, continue to iterate, continue to kind of like ship and tweak and get better. And so that's my thing. I think marketing teams should act more like product teams.
But I don't know that I like the entirety of the process. It feels very slow to me. And in my current state, I know that my clients would lose their mind if we were quite slowing down to that. But we do 2-week sprints with a lot of our clients and use that as a way to move through and make sure that we're held accountable for the work that we commit to and delivering it. And so I think a version of that would work. But my hot take is related, but a little different. I want strategy back. I think we need to bring an actual marketing strategy that we adhere to, and that looks at, what are the needs in the market, what are our client needs, actually like really tie to it, work it, and use it throughout the year, and stop getting whiplash with everything that's happening and every, new AI tool.
Yeah. But I think, Laura, like, companies do have strategies. I think the issue is that the whiplash, the ability to stay strong on your strategy and say, no, this is what we're doing and this is why.
No, I agree. Yes. No, I don't mean to say,
I think it's the bright shiny object syndrome, right?
Object.
Yeah, no, I don't mean to say that they don't have strategy. I mean to say, use your strategy. Let's go back to using the strategy. Let's go back to having the strategy be the thing that we loop back to every time.
Totally.
Every time we're making a decision, how does this align with our strategy? Does this align with our strategy? Not to say that you can't pivot on a strategy, but do it consciously. Do it thoughtfully and with data, not just because the shiny thing came along.
That's a wrap for this episode of CMO's Off Script. This podcast was made possible by Breezy Hill Marketing. Don't forget to explore the podcast notes or cmosoffscript.com for additional insights and resources. Until next time, be bold and stay curious.